What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the CrazyFaceUno Podcast, where everyone has a story and everyone's story matters. What's your story? As always, I'm your host, Shane McNeely, and boy, are you in for a treat today. It is my honor and privilege to introduce my guest today, my friend, Ryan Pittman. Welcome, Ryan.
Thank you, Shane. Thank you.
It is good to have you on here. Like you said in the beginning, it's good to hear your voice. It is Absolutely. So good to hear your voice, dude.
Yeah. It's fun to be here. I'm excited.
I've had a lot of Invisible Children guests on, people that I've met through Invisible Children, and that is also how you and I met.
It is, yeah. Good times.
Yes, for sure. You were the shipping and fulfillment intern?
That was my title.
There you are.
Just did all that stuff, which is basically whatever Russell and Noah wanted me to do all day. So
exactly,
which was fun.
Yeah, we had some good times. We had some good times in the
absolutely
in the office.
Yeah,
you were dating your wife, at the time.
Yeah.
And so you spent a good chunk of time away from her as well, didn't you?
We did. We had just started dating. So I came in January, and we had just started dating in October.
Okay.
And we had been friends for about 2 years before that, like pretty close friends.
Yeah.
And so as I was kind of, I didn't have the internship then, but I was in the interview process, and
yeah.
So I was kind of like, you know what, I was in college at that point, and I was like, I'm just gonna take a break. I'm not gonna look for anyone. I'm just gonna kind of do this internship because I'm going to San Diego, and it's a long way away, and blah blah. So I thought that was a good decision, and then 2 weeks later, I was like, oh my gosh, I think I have feelings for this woman that I've known for a long time. I was like, oh crap, this sucks. But it was just a really weird. It was weird, man.
Yeah. And long distance is hard, especially
yes,
as long as you were away. What?
Yeah, it was in
4
hindsight
months?
it was only 5 months.
5 months, yeah.
But when you'd only been dating 3 months, that was not what I was wanting.
Not ideal.
That's a nice way to say it.
Do you feel like that, are there things that you look back on and you're like, man, I'm really, now that you see that you, grew together in any special way, or, does it pretty much just, that sucked and let's never do that again?
In the moment, it did suck.
Yeah.
I think looking back, I'll say this, being out there, being away from her, was when I knew, she's the one. She's the one I want to marry.
Yeah.
It was just very, very clear. I remember, because I was, there's kind of the option at the end of the internship to stay on for another semester.
Yeah.
And so I'd considered that a little bit.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things where I was like, you know what? She's the one I want to marry. Someone I've wanted for a long time. And so it's here, so I'm not gonna go back,
Right.
So I remember talking with Noah before I left, and it was kind of an exit interview, and he was kind of asking what I'm going to do, what are my plans about that. And I was like, I'll go get a job, buy a ring, and ask her to marry me. That was 100% my plan.
That's awesome.
So it was, it was weird. It's not, there's the saying, the absence makes the heart grow fonder, and that's exactly what it is. That was very, very true.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's so cool.
It was awesome.
What?
It is.
Can you remember, or do you know, the things that, what were when did you know? When was that? Did you have a moment, or was it, over time, you're just this girl's rad?
Yeah. Well, I knew she was rad, because like I said, we've been friends for 2 years. We were kind of in this group of friends that hung out a lot.
Yeah.
And that I still hang out with a lot of those people. We've all gotten married. Within a year, 4 or 5 of us all got married.
Nice.
Now we're all having kids, and so it's this really weird. I feel like some people, you have your college friends and you leave them, and then you go make new friends. But a lot of my college friends still are my friends.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I'm super thankful and very lucky, and it's this kind of weird group where I'll just still hang out. But yeah, so it wasn't like, so we'd known each other for a long time, and so I knew she was rad. That wasn't the issue.
Yeah.
But it was, yes, I don't think it was one moment. I think it was just, maybe it hit me all at once. I'm like, holy crap.
Sure.
I've been away from her for so long. I don't ever want to do this again. Like, ever want to do this again.
Yeah.
And so it's just been, I don't know. That's something that was just, it was just very, very clear, and I couldn't deny it,
Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've like tried to think too, like when I met my wife and, kind of knowing like, it was a process. It was just one of those, exactly kind of like you said, like, man, it's like this process of kind of like, eventually you're like, okay, yep, this is the one. But I can't tell you like a specific moment where I was like, oh, like the angels came down and started singing and we're like, choose her.
Yeah. It's not a romantic comedy movie.
It's real life. Seriously.
Yeah. Well, I think it's one of those things where it's a decision every day.
Yeah.
So I think that's how kind of my experience has been with that. Or my experience with realizing that, it's like I realized it every single day.
Yeah.
I make decisions based on that realization,
Yeah.
So.
I think it's a choice too, you get to like choose to like, that was a big part of my vows. I have my vows sitting right next to me.
That's cool.
Which is kind of interesting. That, like, reminded me of that. But yeah.
Are you gonna give them to me?
I can if you want.
I'm just kidding.
But
I'm just kidding.
Dude, so are you live in, like, we haven't spoke probably really since you left. We chatted like a little bit maybe.
We did, yeah. Wait, and we hung out at in 2013.
Yeah, that's right.
No, 2014. Anyway, yeah.
So we've seen each other a couple times since the old IC days. But you're in Georgia?
Yeah. I'm in Marietta, Georgia, which is like northwest of Atlanta.
Okay, cool.
Suburb.
Did you know I'm in Florida now? I live in Florida.
I knew that. Where do you live in Florida?
Like Coconut Creek is like our city or whatever, which is just north of Fort Lauderdale, like 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes.
Okay. Nice. That's not too bad.
Yeah, no, that's good.
My brother just moved was living in Melbourne, Florida. He lived there for 2 years, which is outside of Orlando.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
You guys have been there. You guys moved relatively recently, right?
Yeah, like going on 4 months maybe now.
Oh wow, that's awesome. You guys like it?
So far so good. It's like, I don't know. For me, it's so hard to describe. People are like, well, are you settled in? Are you like, does it feel like home? And you're like, yeah. Yeah, but it does. Like, it feels normal. You know what I mean? Like, it's, we've lived here long enough for this to feel kind of normal. But like this last weekend, we went down to Miami and we actually got 2 nights, like a hotel room free for 2 nights in Miami. Whoa. So we were like, right on South Beach, which was kind of cool. And we were like,
that's really cool.
Okay. Yeah, we're like, okay, we're gonna go. It's only an hour away, so we went down there. It's moments like that where you're like, this is pretty much our home. Like this is where we live. I know Dana really struggled. When you and I, like, we lived in San Diego. I lived there for a few years, and you lived there for a bit, and you kind of just get used to like the palm trees and stuff.
Yeah.
But Dana's lived in Minnesota her whole life. She never moved away from Minnesota. So when she came down here, and like for the first couple months, she was like, it feels like I'm just on this really long vacation. Like I walk outside and there's palm trees, like, yeah. And I remember that like in San Diego where you're like walking, like we walked to work, or took the guys took the, your van in. But when I was walking to work and just being like, this is my life. This is where I live right now. Like this is home. Yeah. Like this is. So there's moments like that, I think, that still kind of pop up every once in a while where we're at the beach and we're like, yep, gonna go to the beach and hang out because it's where I live. Yeah. So.
That's cool. Yeah. So why did you guys move to Florida?
My wife, she got a promotion through her work, and she's kicking ass and taking names, and Yeah, she's doing a
Thanks,
great
man.
job. She's a go-getter. So
That's cool.
yeah, I brought us down here and kind of opened the opportunity up for me to do what I'm doing now. So
yeah, that's really cool, dude. That's really cool.
What are you up to these days?
I am a stay-at-home dad right now.
Look at you. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm Mr. Mom.
I have another one of my best friends, Tony Wiltsey. He's doing that as well, and he's stay-at-home dad.
Yeah, that's really cool.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's super fun. It's different and weird, but it's really good. And I think you and I probably have similar wives. That my wife is a go-getter, and she's very talented at her job, and she just finished her master's in nursing education. So she's a educator at a emergency department for a hospital up here.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
We moved back here. We lived in Nashville for a few years, and we moved back here when we found out we were pregnant. So my wife called her old hospital, like, "Hey, like I'm maybe moving back, kind of like, when she had happy jobs or whatever." And they're like, "You can start next week." And she was like, "Okay." So we're moving back to Atlanta next week, which was awesome. And so then after that, about a year after that, she got a promotion to be in leadership, and so it's just been kind of this whirlwind for her.
Sure.
Been like, all right, well, I mean, mathematically, you can make more money than I can, so here we are.
Heck yeah, and
I'm not
why
gonna
not?
argue with it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I know it's been weird for me. Like, so right now, I'm working on CrazyFaceUno full time, and so we're dependent on her income. So there's similarities. I feel like. Oh yeah. Talking with my buddy Tony, what was that a hard transition for you to like be at home and like to be dependent on like just her income, or? Yeah,
I mean, I think maybe not from like I'm a man, I make money. That's never been like my shtick.
Sure.
And it's something that my mom stayed at home with me and my brother, so that's something that I kind of grew up with, and I was lucky enough to grow up with.
Yeah.
And not that, if you didn't, your life isn't worse. It's just,
of course.
I had a good experience with it. And so that was something that I always thought was pretty cool. And so in the back of my mind, it's something I always kind of wanted to do.
Yeah.
But I wasn't going to push it. If it never happens, it's like, well, it never happens. There are a lot of people that it doesn't happen for, and that's fine. There's nothing, nothing's better or worse. It's just different.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
But I was working at an Apple store in Nashville, and when we found out we moved back to Atlanta, I tried to transfer, and I just couldn't really. It didn't work out for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
So we came back, and we're like, you know what? Like, let's just try to do this single income. Let's just go for it and see what happens. So we were able to purchase a house on my wife's income, which was great.
That's awesome.
And then 6 weeks later, we had our baby, and we've been kind of rolling ever since. I think it's been difficult for me, as in you're just going from a double income to a single income family. That's just hard no matter what.
Yeah.
But as far as like my ego and my pride, no, that doesn't bug me.
That's cool.
That's not an issue for me.
Yeah, I feel like that's the part. I don't know. There is something with me that I've talked about on here before, but man, that real struggle to like provide. Mm-hmm. Like I just really want to be able to like, and it again, like we're comfortable, like we're good, like things are fine, but it's like, man, I want to be the one to like provide. So that's been, it's definitely my own ego that's been like, hey, you got some stuff to work on, brah.
What you doing sleeping in, buddy? Get up.
Yeah.
Like,
all right.
No, I do get it. And I think it's something that, I'm not one to blame everything on society, but I think that.
Oh, for sure.
That has been that is traditionally what happens. The man goes to work, the wife either works a part-time job or stays on home and all that, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just.
Right.
When you flip it on its head, it's kind of weird. And there are times where I'll go to Target at 10 a.m. and I'm like the only dude there.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is kind of weird.
It's kind of fun, to go.
It's super fun. I love it.
Going grocery shopping in the morning, and it's like awesome. You got the whole store to yourself.
Yeah, that's the best time to go grocery shopping. Absolutely. Monday at 10 a.m.
Yep.
Someone's there. So I do think it is a transition. It is something that I always think about. But But I've also been doing it for 3 years.
Right.
And so I've just kind of got used to it. The first few months were hard though.
Yeah. And that's what my buddy Tony says too, is he's been staying home for a couple of years now as well, and so it's like, or about I guess like almost a year maybe, but yeah, so it's like he's like, yeah, it's hard in the beginning, but you get used to it and things get, and it's different too because you're raising your child, and I'm like not doing that. I'm doing things every day, like I'm working every day, and some days it doesn't feel like it's funny because like I'm working from home, so like I'm like doing stuff within CrazyFaceUno, within the business, and trying to build this, and so like some days I get to the end of the day and my brain is just fried, like just like a normal day, like just it's just I'm not getting paid to do it. That's the only difference.
I have a job.
Yes.
I just don't get it.
Yeah, exactly. Yet.
Yeah.
So.
But I think in some ways it's like it's one of those things where, I mean, if the idea is that Crazy Face can be something that can bring in money one day,
exactly,
it's
different. Yeah,
and there are times where you just have to, like, this is just the price you have to pay to get there.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I feel for sure.
Yeah, good. I think hopefully in the long run this will be a very small window of time versus the long run where you're 20, 30 years into it and you're still doing it and still and able to bring in money and to provide in different ways, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Ryan, looking back, I saw, what I usually do is I go on Facebook and I like try to pull things off of there that I, just in like make little notes, and I didn't realize, but you studied sociology.
I did, yeah.
At Kennesaw State University?
Kennesaw State, yeah.
Is that where you met your wife too?
Yes, she was actually at Columbus State University, which is in Columbus, Georgia, south of Atlanta.
Okay.
Kennesaw State is outside of Atlanta. Columbus is about 2 hours south of Atlanta. So
I actually presented at Kennesaw State.
Did you really?
Yeah, because I was deep south back in 2000. It would have been fall 2010.
I think I remember us talking about that.
Yeah.
2010.
Yeah, it would have been, I think fall 2010.
Okay, I was at KSU. I don't know if I went to that one though.
Yeah, I think that's what we had talked about. That you hadn't gone to that one. Sucker.
Weird. Oh, that's really weird. I vaguely remember us talking about that. That's weird. That's cool though.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we met there. She had gone there. So actually, both our parents lived in the same town in South Georgia called Albany.
Okay.
But we didn't know each other then. We had a lot of mutual friends. We didn't know each other. So anyway, she graduated high school and moved up. Well, she spent 2 years. We kind of like leapfrogged each other in college because she went to a local college on there for 2 years. Then when she moved up to Kennesaw State, I started going to that local college for 2 years. She went to Kennesaw State for 2 years. Then when she moved to Columbus State to get her nursing degree, I went to Kennesaw State.
That's funny.
So at Kennesaw State, we ended up living. I ended up living with some of her friends, and so that's how we kind of met.
Gotcha.
So yeah, just through mutual friends. So
yeah,
it was really weird being like, oh, hey, whatever. I'm Newton, I'm Ryan, and like, oh wait, your parents are from Albany too. That's really weird. So, like, how are we meeting in Atlanta?
Yeah.
That's where we met.
When you look back at like high school, this is a question I like to ask people. When you look back at like high school and you were making that decision to go to college, what was your draw to sociology, or like what do you feel like led you that direction?
This is gonna be a fun answer. I hope it's a fun answer. So I was originally like when I was at the junior college, I was a psych major. Just like, I don't know, I was just interested in it, so I just kind of went for it. I was in it about a year, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. So I went to Kennesaw State because they had a good early childhood education program.
Okay.
I was like, well, that'll be good. Like, like as a guy, I can definitely get a job because males don't have a lot of male elementary teachers. Yeah. And I always like kids. I think kids are fun, and I think kids are kids are just really interesting. And so I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
So I was in that for about a year, and then I was like, there's a lot of I met with a lot of teachers just in schools. So I was kind of volunteering in schools, and they were like, "This isn't a good field to get in right now. It's really difficult to Like, it's just hard to be with the kids and have an impact on the kids because you're dealing with red tape and you're dealing with bureaucracy.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that really sucks, because that was the reason I wanted to get into it.
Right.
And so then I went to my advisor and I was like, listen, I've been in college for 3.5 years at this point. I want to graduate. What is the quickest degree I can graduate with? And she said, sociology. I said, sign me up. So then I graduated from sociology. So that was my draw to sociology, getting out of college.
Nice. That's awesome. So you had like a bunch of education classes then, basically, but you, nice.
Yeah, those were all like those ended up being my the electives, and then I just did sociology classes in like a year and a half, and then I was like, sweet, done. So graduated, and then I found out the only thing you do with a sociology degree is go to grad school. And I was like, well, I don't want to do that. So now I'm gonna stay home down. It's
there
great.
There you go. Yeah, that's always so interesting. It's always so interesting because some people just know what they want to do, you know?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And then some people, like I have friends that did the same thing. You know, they like came in basically as, I think, well, there's a couple of them that were like ministry majors, and then they switched their like senior year. The same kind of deal, you know, where they're like, well, I'm getting a minor in like Spanish, or I'm getting a minor in XYZ, you know? So it's like, I've got enough credits to do this, and I can graduate now or wait, and you know, so
yeah,
they just kind of went that direction too. Yeah, it's always it's just always interesting what leads you to the major. Do you feel like high school is, well, one, it feels like a blur.
It does, especially now being 13 years out of it. It's really weird.
Yeah. Are you in the 30s club yet?
Hey, I'm 31.
31. We're the same age. 31. 30s club. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's great to be here.
Feels great, right? Feels great. It's weird to look back and think about making that decision at that age sometimes.
Yeah, and like how little information you had in your head.
Yeah.
Such a huge decision. Yeah, it's really weird. I agree.
It's almost like the focus that you had at that time was different. Like you're just so happy to just like go about life, you know? Versus like nowadays it's like, I just didn't feel like there was like a drive, I guess maybe when I look back. Yeah. There was just no drive. There was just like, I guess I'll just do that, you know? Like, go do that college thing. Like, I think my like main focus was like, I want to play sports. So but then, you know, then you like realize that that's also really hard to do as well. So I don't know.
Well, I think like what you're talking, like my brother has always known he wanted to be involved with basketball somehow. Ideally, because I want to play in the NBA, but that's a slim chance just because he's getting that. So, and also he's like 5'10", so that probably ain't
not helpful. Yeah.
But he's like, still want to do something with basketball. So, when he graduated high school, he's like, I want to be a college coach, and that is exactly what he's doing. He's been he's a college coach at a small college in South Carolina called Limestone College.
Nice.
And he's doing it, and he's doing his whole life. That's what he wanted to do. And then for me, I'm like 31, and I'm like, I don't know what I want to do when I grow up. I'm like, oh wait, I am grown up. Oh man,
I know, right?
Yeah, it's really weird. I think looking back, if I could do it differently, I think I would just go into like a tech school and learn how to like be an electrician or like cut hair or like something, or learn a skill, you know?
Yeah.
I could immediately go and make a decent amount of money and enough money to live on, you know?
Yeah.
And then be like, okay, now I can figure out what I want to do because I have financial freedom.
Yeah.
To do what I do, you know?
I really wish, I wish there was more opportunity or I wish I would have taken advantage of more opportunities to like do internships that were just like things I was interested in. But I think even that was like, at the time, I'm like, I don't even know what I'm interested in some ways, you know? Yeah. Like even in college, it'd be like, oh yeah. Like I was trying to do internships in the summer, like during my college years, just to help with my education and get out of school faster in some ways. And I don't know. It's just interesting. It's always interesting to look back and I think, yeah, there's some people just know. Some people just know what they want to do. And I think those people are fascinating personally, because I'm like, what was it? Like, what made you just want to do that? Like, I feel like you and I are kind of like a lot of ways, like the common, like, I don't know. I just went and picked a major, and like I was a nursing major my freshman year, and
oh really? That's
switched
cool.
halfway through, or switched after my first year, and
yeah.
So
why'd you switch out?
I don't know. I just didn't feel like that was what I wanted to do. You know,
that's cool.
I wanted to. I don't know. Well, it was that it didn't help me stay in the nursing program that I was gonna have to. I didn't get into the nursing program after my first year, so I was going to be like set back another year. But it was like the first semester, I remember talking to my mom. I was on the phone with her, and I was like, I just don't think this is it. Like, I don't think this is what I'm supposed to be doing, you know, or like what I want to do. I was like, I'm going to keep going until I know for sure, you know, but like, I'm just not feeling it. You know, this isn't feeling like it's the right spot for me or right thing for me to do. And so then I got to the end of that first year, and they basically were like, yeah, you're going to have to come back another year. And I was like, yep, okay. Well, there's my confirmation. I was correct.
I already hate it. Now I want another year of it.
Nah, I'm good. We'll just move on to the next thing. So
that's funny.
Yeah.
Really funny.
Do you other things that you learned in college that you know, like hanging out with your, you know, raising your daughter now that you are grateful for? Or like things that you like look at and you're like, oh, these are really interesting. And
yeah, I think one thing that I can like, one thing I mean, she's 3, so it's like, you know, life skills are just like, let's learn how to use the bathroom, and let's like, that's kind of the stage we're in. But I think as she grows up, like, I don't plan on pushing her to. Well, if she wants to go to college, that's cool. Yeah. But I think for me, it's like, you need to make sure that the degree you're going after or what you're pursuing is enough, makes sense that you can, like, if you're going to take out a student loan, you need to be able to pay that student loan back with the money that you're going to make from the job. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like my wife, she just finished her master's degree, and I mean, it was like relatively cheap. It's not like crazy,
sure.
But it's still like, it's a decent amount of money that we're going to have to, you know, we started student loan payments, and so it's one of those things where normally I'd be like, I don't like this, but you know, the idea is that hopefully she can continue to work, and we'll end up being in the black at one point, you know.
Yeah.
And so that, in that case, that makes sense. But I have friends that have like sociology degrees from these like very prestigious colleges. They're like 50, 60 grand in debt, and they don't have a job because you can't get a job with it.
Right.
You know? So I think that's the only thing that's one of the things I would stress to my daughters, that I'm like, you can go to college. There's nothing wrong with college. There's a lot of great things that you can learn in college, but you need to be smart and think about your future and like, can you make the money back?
Yeah. You know? I wonder how things will change in the next 15 years. Like, looking at education.
It's going to be really, I think it's already starting to change.
Yeah, that's why I agree. I think that things are kind of starting to change already. But I don't know. I don't think we know what direction or what that's going to look like. But
yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out. But yeah, I think college is going to look very, very different. I don't know if like college is going to really be a thing.
Yeah, I think it just will look maybe different just because of technology, and you know, I think that's been one of the bigger shifts as well. Like, you know, you can take online courses and get right into the job world and kind of build, and a lot of the, you know, I think it's a great way. I think if you're a business and you want people to, you know, grow and kind of learn the ins and outs of your business from the bottom up, like, you give incentives to hey, come on in, we'll help you, we'll offset your costs, and you know, we'll help you grow in your skills, and but you know, that's
what my wife's hospital does. They've helped us, you know, get there, and her degree was her master's degree was completely online. So that was it was a good incentive for her to work there, and us for her to continue to work there. You know, if you guys are going to help us get there, then I'm willing to play ball. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I think that's really cool.
Have you heard of Gary Vaynerchuk?
Dude, I love Gary.
Dude, I love that man.
Like
yeah.
I think like, he's so eccentric and so out there.
Yeah.
But
he slaps you in the face with like truth, and I love it.
He really does, and I respect that.
Yeah, he makes me think. Like when I see his videos, I'm like, all right, I gotta listen. What's he saying? And I'm like, Then the next like 2 hours, I like catch myself, and I'm like, that's all I've been thinking about for the last 2 hours is like that one thing he just said. But I've listened to a couple of his talks and whatnot, and one of the things he says is like, we're 31, and it's like we got 2 more lives to live. Like 90 isn't, that's like not out of the realm of possibility. Can you imagine? No. Like we have a whole, like what's holding you back? I love that like concept of like, what's holding you back? You've got 2 more lives to live. Like you've already lived, you've only lived 30 years, and
I the think first 10 years don't really count because you're like learning basic things.
Exactly.
It's like, you're really not even 30 years in, you're like 20 years in.
Yeah, exactly. You're like already ahead of the curve. Like this is our prime in so many ways, The next 30 years, what are we going to do with the next 30 years? What are you going to do? And I love that of like no excuses in a way, Like there's no there's no real excuse. It's like you've got so much life to live, so why not get after it? And I don't know. I just I love, that's one of those that's stuck with me, and kind of thinking about that and education and my life and whatnot, but
I think he has a lot of good things. There's something to say. I'm like, that's a little far out there for me.
Yeah,
but
really but at the same time, there's a couple that he said, like if I woke up, or if I found out my parents, were dead right now, like, would this thing really matter? The thing that like upsets him. I'm like, it's a little extreme there, Gary, but.
I see what you're getting at.
I see what you're getting at. You're not wrong, but like, I don't know how to get my head around that one, dude.
I just don't want to think about that right
now. Yeah. But, I saw that you were the assistant program manager at Rise Against Hunger.
Yes, it was called Stop Hunger Now when I was there. But
okay. Yeah. Cool. What all did you guys do there? What all were you a part of? Like,
yeah, so we did. It's a charity based in Raleigh, North Carolina, and they were a World Hunger Relief organization.
Cool.
And kind of the general idea, it's actually a pretty cool idea, I think. Is we would a warehouse here in Atlanta. Just 3 of us that work there. We would store a bunch of. I'm trying to think. It's been a long time. There were 4 ingredients that we stored there. We stored rice, dehydrated soy, like a veggie blend.
Yeah.
And then something. That's 4 ingredients. Holy crap! What was that 4th ingredient?
Beans.
No, it wasn't beans. Because the soy was like the beans.
Oh yeah, soy.
Oh my gosh, that's gonna drive me crazy. I don't know.
It'll come to you.
Well, if I remember it, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'd store those raw materials, and then we would take them to like churches or companies or like social groups, like a Kiwanis club or like that kind of stuff.
Sure.
And those people would package X amount of meals. Typically, the minimum we would do is 10,000 meals.
Wow.
Which sounds like a lot, and that is a lot. But 6 meals go in 1 bag, so there's about it's a couple thousand bags.
Sure.
But some people would put all the ingredients into the bag. Some people would seal the bag, and some would weigh the bag, and some would seal the bag. So everybody had kind of a job, and you kind of create an assembly line where within 2 hours we would package 10,000 meals, and then it could scale up or down depending on how many. If you had you had 40 people in 2 hours, you could package 10,000 meals. That was kind of the standard.
That was your goal, is like get 40 people to volunteer, or
yeah, that was the minimum. And so obviously if you have more people, you can do more meals in 2 hours, or if you want to do like an all day thing, you can have different shifts, and there's ways to scale it up. But yeah, so we bring those meals back to our warehouse, and they would once we were full, they'd back a shipping container up to our warehouse. We'd load it up with, I can't remember how many meals. It was like a couple 100,000 meals. Wait, it may be more than that. It was a lot of meals, and they would ship to mainly developing countries, Africa, Southeast Asia, South America, places like that.
Yeah.
And they had partners in each country. They would give the food to the partners. The partners would distribute it to orphanages, or we also did some disaster relief every now and then. I think we shipped it was a don't quote me on this because I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was a hurricane hit like up in New York. I think like a few years ago.
Yeah.
I think we shipped like a container of meals up there.
Cool.
So we did a little bit of disaster relief, but it's mainly for sustained like long-term partners who are like helping to feed orphans.
Yeah.
Or feeding like refugees and stuff like that. So it was a really cool program. It really was. They did a really good job. They're still doing a good job.
How long were you there?
I was there a year.
Nice.
Worked there for a year, and then we moved to Nashville after that. It was a really cool thing. They do a good job. They really do. One of the things I liked about it, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like I was listening to the podcast. I think it was with Noah that you did.
Yeah.
But you say your dad's a pastor?
He used to be.
To be. Okay. My dad's a pastor.
Okay. Yeah, he was a pastor until like my 6th grade, like going into 6th grade. So it was like 18 years he was a pastor, and then he left the ministry.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that about you. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Surprise.
Yeah. It's always fun to meet someone who's like, oh, your dad's pastor too, because it's kind of
it's a unique thing too. Like there's not.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you get it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I get
cool.
it.
Anyway, so one thing I like about this organization is they were founded like from the Methodist Church, but their founder was like, cool. I think he was founded as a Methodist minister, but they were not necessarily like a Christian organization. Yeah. And what they kind of mean by that is like if some Christian charities, which I mean generally I believe pretty much everything that I grew up with, but there are certain things I've seen now where I'm like, I don't think that's the best way to do it. And there are some charities where they only give food or only give supplies to people once they kind of present, the idea of Jesus and all this stuff. And I'm like, that's kind of weird. Like I don't know if that's really what Jesus did. Like he kind of he fed people and then he talked. And if they want to stick around, that's cool. Not to you. So the one thing I liked about Stop Parking Now is that they never partnered. All their partners, that was not their deal. Yeah, cool. So I thought it was cool that even the founders that the idea of Jesus was very, very special to them. Mm-hmm. That it wasn't. They didn't want to force it on anyone. Yeah. I
like that. Yeah, I respect that too.
Cool. I think it's a more humane way to do it.
Yeah. It's like culturally sensitive too, when you're dealing with other cultures, and it's just showing up, and if there's questions and people want to know more, then of course you talk about it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. People, I'm sure you've listened. If you listen to that one, like I've talked about it a little bit, like my faith and whatnot, and like I've came a long way from just kind of figuring things out and where I stand on things, but I still think that I don't know. I think that it has a place in the world, and I think that I don't know. I think that people, I don't know. I like that. I guess is what I'm saying is like I really appreciate. Not necessarily pushing an agenda, but just showing up and being like, hey, this is a need, and providing for that specific need. And, if the byproduct is like, we get to have a conversation about what I believe or my faith, and then cool. And if not, then at least we showed up, Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. I think that's something that has been important to me as I've, kind of grown up and been able to like kind of, pursue church on my own. Yeah. Pursue Jesus on my own that's much more in line with that's much more in line with the way he did things versus some was through it, so I think, because I also went to a Christian high school. Yeah.
Okay.
And so.
See, I went to a Christian college, public high school, so it's kind of like reverse,
Yeah.
But how was that? How was like, what's been your experience growing up as a pastor's kid, PK?
Yeah, it's been. I mean, I've met a few of the pastor's kids in my life, including you, apparently.
Yeah, I didn't know you were a pastor's kid either. So
I didn't either until when you were talking to Noah. I was like, holy crap! I feel like that should have come up.
I know. Yeah, it's funny because
like
with my dad not being in the ministry, like for a good chunk of my life, like I don't know, it comes up every once in a while, but it's not like a focal point of my life anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, no. Honestly, I've met pastors' kids, and I think there's like this, and it may not be true where you grew up, but in the South, it's like the pastors' kids are like the bad kids. I don't know if that's a stereotype where you're from, but that's like the stereotype I always heard.
Yeah.
And not necessarily like people were like trying to scare me, like don't be the bad kid.
Yeah.
But I think the idea is that their dad was always a pastor. He was never just a dad,
Sure.
And so he's constantly like preaching at his kids, and it's exhausting.
Yeah.
And so I was very lucky enough. My dad didn't do that. He was just a dad when he came home. He left his job at his job, while still believing, everything, but being like, not like I'm not your pastor. I'm your dad.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm very, very lucky and very thankful that was my experience.
Yeah.
I think I turned out better for it.
That's a tough role though too, like kind of flipping
oh my gosh,
that's your life.
It really is. But I have a lot of respect for my dad. He just does things the right way. I think as best he can. I mean, no one's perfect, but I think his heart's always in the right place, and I think that's what's important.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it really is. I hope that I can live up to that standard for my daughter.
Yeah,
that's my goal.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would, knowing who you are and knowing, the small amount of time that I've spent with you in your life, you're a good dude, man. You're a good man. Yeah.
Ditto. Same to you.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah. Did going to Christian high school, what was that like? Was your high school like, what was that experience like? I guess I'm always intrigued by the high school side of things, younger age kind of.
Mm-hmm. I'd be interested to hear about your college experience because I purposely chose not to go to a Christian college.
Yeah.
But it was, which may be a spoiler for my high school experience.
Spoiler.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
It was fine. I just think that, okay, here's a story I've told a few people. And this kind of sums up my high school experience. When I was a senior in high school, I was in Bible class because we have Bible class in high school.
Yes.
And obviously that's what everybody else has. That's what you do. And my senior year, they had a new superintendent come in, and so he was going to come in the first day and speak to us. I was like, cool, it's fine. I get to know the new guy. My brother was 4 years younger than me, so I knew he was going to kind of be at that school.
Yeah.
For 5 more years. So I was kind of interested to see, what my brother was going to kind of, live with for a little bit. And so our teacher the superintendent comes in, he talks to us for a little bit, introduces himself, and he's like, I want to show you guys a movie clip. I was all right. So he shows us a clip from The Truman Show. Great movie, classic movie. I assume you've seen it.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So at the end, he realizes he's lived in this bubble his whole life.
Yeah.
And so he's kind of sailing out, and he hits
spoiler alert if you haven't seen it.
Yes.
No.
Spoiler alert, sorry.
And if you haven't seen it by this point in time, you deserve to have it spoiled. So.
Anyway. So he hits, he gets to the edge of the world, and he finds the door and has the opportunity to leave and experience life on his own.
Yeah.
And so then the creator of the world, the God figure in in the scenario, was talks to him, is like, hey, I built this world for you. I did this whole thing for you. And, so you can leave if you want, but, this is I've created this perfect world for you to live in, and you have no struggles. You have no, this is it. You can be here and live this utopian life. And he decides to leave. And so, as my mind raced, and I was like, oh, well, that's really cool. He's going to talk to us about how our, these past 18 years, we've lived our life at this school, in our parents' house. And now, at the end of this year, we're going to step out into the world, the real world, and we're going to go to college, and we're going to have to make decisions on our own about, not just what we're going to do with our life, but like small things like, am I going to, eat here or eat there? Or am I going to like every little decision is ours, 100% up to us.
Yeah.
I was like, cool. Like he's going to kind of like, this year is a year to like really, like steel yourself and see like, get ready for the world. We're going to teach you life skills to, to move into the world. And that is not what he said. He said, God has created this little bubble for you to live in. This is the bubble you're supposed to live in. And I was like,
oh, wow.
That's like, so that was really frustrating. And I was like, oh no, this is going to be a long year. And it's day one. It's like my first period, day one.
Oh,
so
man.
it was a long, I'm not going to lie. But, and I think maybe like as I look back, I kind of understand what he was, I see what he was getting at, that like, God has these set of rules that he thinks are the ideal way to live. I'm like, yeah, it's just the way he proposed it. I'm like, yeah, but like, that's not, at this point, it's kind of too late to teach us the rules. Like we're all 17, 18 years old. Like,
yeah,
like we're going no matter what,
Yeah.
So it was just one of those things. I was like, I feel like it's just a missed opportunity is what it was.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of my experience in going to Christian high school. And like, that being said, I had a lot of great moments. I had a lot of really good teachers that were invested in us and impacted, it helped impact me and who I am today. And so they weren't all that way. They really weren't. There's a lot of really great, a lot of great influences in my life. And I made some, I had some good friends, and so it wasn't terrible. It really wasn't.
Yeah.
Especially as far as high school goes, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah. And I feel similarly. That's a really hard word to say sometimes.
It is.
Similarly, with like my college experience, like I met my best friends there, Tony and Sam, and those guys are really important to me, and the relationships that I've just built through my time at Bethel College, now Bethel University, were amazing, and it shaped me. My experience there has shaped who I am and shaped the direction that where I am today, and what I believe and how I think and whatever. And I've said this a couple times on the podcast, but I took a survey. They like sent us this survey via email on like, what out of these three things, what was the thing you took the most from your time at Bethel? And it was like, your education, basically, your spiritual journey, your faith or whatever, or and the other one was basically relationships and the mentoring and relationships that you built there. And mine, if there wasn't something that like clicked, like that was the one, that's for sure. Like relationships, it was the relationships that I built there. That was the biggest thing that I took from my time at school. And I don't know that it would have been any different if I had gone anywhere else, Yeah. However, that was for sure the most impactful for me. And I felt, I had this conversation recently. I felt like for so long, especially in college, there was this like trying to figure out what I believed, and like trying to figure this out. And now my mind is kind of shifted to where like that's not my focus. My focus isn't like trying to. It's like I just want to live life, And verse like that'll figure itself out. Like that's not my like. Talking about how we had gone from like high school and like trying to figure out what you want to do in college, and like this, we kind of mentioned in the beginning of this high school time was just kind of like, I'll go do that thing, like, I don't know, like whatever. And then you get to college and then it like kind of shifts. You start to have, like you were talking about, like you start to make these choices and you get to have these choices. And that's when I was confronted with what I actually believed and why I believed the things I did, and started to go, oh, I didn't know that's why. I don't know why I believe some of the things. Like that's just what I've always known,
Yeah.
And then, so that was kind of that moment in my life. And then now I just feel like it's like, man, there's just more important things to me that I don't need to spend all of my time trying to figure out like what I believe. It's just not. It's not my focus anymore.
Yeah.
I've spent enough time on that in my life, and it's like, all right, it's time to live now. And so I don't know.
There's two things. I think going to like a Christian school or Christian college or whatever, I think it can be exhausting because you spend so much of your time like learning about these things. Yeah, that's like you're just tired. Yeah, you know, like I'll say this, like I still really I claim to be someone who follows Jesus. Yeah. So part of that is reading your Bible regularly and spending time in prayer and conversation with Jesus regularly. And so that's still something that is really hard for me because in high school I read the Bible for homework. Right. And so same. So when I think about reading the Bible, I think about reading like about the Revolutionary War. Like it's that same idea of like, I don't want to do that. Like because I did it for so long, it's just tiring. And there's not a lot of it's just tiring, and it's not something that I want to do. Yeah, and I think those are kind of the rules that that like we think of like, oh, these are these rules versus like. I mean, personally, I believe like Ryan, it's okay that you like read about the Revolutionary War and you didn't pick up your Bible and read it. Personally, that's how I see it, and I know that that's like a controversial like. And whether you feel okay with that or not, I just think that that's okay. Like if it's not saying that you're never going to pick it back up. It's just saying like it's very true. Hey, like it's okay to live life and it's okay to enjoy the things that you're reading. It's okay to do those things. I had the same thing in college. I had chapel 3 days a week. I did a podcast with an old friend, Becky Jaworski, and she talked about that. She ended up leaving Bethel because of just some of the superficial like relationships that she had, and she didn't have the same rich relationships like I did. And it's hard, and some of it was for her. She's like, I went to church Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Chapel was basically a sermon in a church. It's worship, and she's like, I didn't want to go to church on Sundays. Like I need to go 4 days a week. Like really, like. And read my Bible and do all this stuff like all at the same like every day and be in a Bible study and be in the small group or be in all these different things. She's like, that was kind of her experience in college, and I can resonate with that. Like I was and so I don't know, and maybe that's like my perspective. Like man, I spent a lot of my life, I spent a lot of my time focused on this one little thing, and then you get out into the real world after I graduated college, and it's like. Now what? No, I agree. I think like, the one thing that your what was your friend's name? I'm sorry, Becky. Becky. One thing Becky was saying is that, and I get this, and I agree with this, that she had to. Yeah. And it's like, in my opinion, if you have what I think Jesus wants is Jesus wants you to. He doesn't want you to have to. He wants you because you want to. It's like for me. I don't have to spend time with my wife. I want to spend time with my wife. You know what I'm saying? Right. That same level of like relationship where like if it's a had to, then you're already on the wrong, like it's the wrong mindset, Yeah. Like there should be a desire to do that, It's like if you can start there, if you can gain the desire, then everything else will fall into place. Yeah. I think a lot of times what's focused on is that like I think my school, they want us to build the habit of reading our Bible every day, of praying and all this stuff. And I think the intentions are good, but the execution doesn't work like in the long term, because it's someone else telling me I have to do it, I have to do it, and that's exhausting. Mm-hmm. Then it's this negative mindset of like you like beat yourself up, or like it's this like I didn't do it, like and it's like you have to do this to be in favor of this thing that you believe, and like I don't agree with that at all. Like I don't think it's like just because you don't read your Bible doesn't mean you fall out of favor with God. Absolutely, it's like no, it's your life. It's what you live. It's I don't know. I have very different views. Like I've said it 1,000 times now on the podcast. Like I don't call myself a Christian, and I have different views, but I don't think it's really that far off from what other people, like within the Christian church believe. It's just that I just don't have the, I don't read my Bible. That's one thing for sure. But I don't know.
I think there's more to life than that. I think it's like living life and living to its fullest and helping people and being the best version that you can be, and going back to that drawing board. And you know, there's examples, you know, like Jesus is a great example of someone that lived a life that's beautiful, man. I mean, like the way he treated people and the way the inclusiveness and the heart, you know, that he had. And I think that's beautiful. I think that's right. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I
think that's what I kind of keep coming back to, is that when I look at the life of Jesus, that is the best way to live. Like a life that is given away every single day.
Yeah.
And, you know, to set the record, that's not how I live my life every day. Like there are days where I am selfish, and that's not the way I want to live, but it does happen. I'm not a perfect person. I'm not a perfect example of who Jesus is, but I think for him to give his life away every single day, and then, you know, regardless of whether you believe when he died, did he actually like fully take on the sins of the earth and all that stuff? Like, regardless of whether you think that's true or not, the fact that he was willing to die thinking that, that's insane. Like, even if he was wrong, that's still so. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
I would not die for it. Like, if someone's like, if you die right now, we kill you, you can absolve the sins of the earth. I'm like, no, I'm good. Like,
yeah, I'll take my chances.
That's crazy.
I think I'll take my chances on Earth. Yeah. Like,
yeah, like I think we're going to be. I'm sure you can find someone else to do it.
Yeah.
It's just like, I think that's such an interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know, if he was that, either he was absolutely insane or he was right.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think that's just I don't know. Like Donald Miller talks about that. I don't know if you're familiar with Donald Miller. He's an author, speaker.
Yeah, I mean, I am very familiar with him. I actually just read his book on Story Brand.
Yeah.
But not anything to do with like faith. But it's a very good book.
Yeah, he has a book, and one of his first books called Blue Like Jazz.
Yep,
it's really good. And he talks about how, like, look at the life of Jesus. That's the best way to live. Like, that is and there are other great examples, you know, that you could pick out from culturally and other like religions. There are a lot of great people in those places, but Jesus fully gave his life away every single day. So I think it's just that's something I always come back to. That's my sin. That's my why. You know, like I think from earlier how you did all these things your whole life, but you never understood the why. And I think if you don't understand the why, I think it's going to be hard to maintain that, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's finding the why is the important part. It's something that I'm still finding, you know?
Yeah.
It's still like...
And I think that's important. I think it's a, you know, life in general, you know? Like, it's a journey. It's this, like... It's not a destination. It's not something you're like, well, I did it, you know? It's like, you just keep going, you know? It's, and for me, like, I constantly want to challenge myself and, like, look at what I believe and how I believe and how I live my life. And, you know, for a long time, there's always been this theme, like, I want to help people. You know, that's like, at the end of the day, you know, I went into nursing because I wanted to help people, you know, and people said that I was, like, that I would be good at it. And so, all right, I went into nursing. You know what I mean? And once again, it's like this theme of my college days of being like, well, you know, people told me this is something that I'd be good at. And would I be? Yeah. Like, you know, but like, that's not what I wanted to do. And I don't know. It's figuring things out on your own and kind of going down that road. And I think that, you know, I think that at the end of the day, I'm going to keep trying to just be the best version of myself. And man, it's tough some days, you know, like
absolutely
people are exhausting.
Oh gosh. Yes.
But
I live with a 3-year-old. A 3-year-old is my boss, but people are exhausting.
Yeah. But, no, I agree with you. Like, I think that's cool. And I don't think there's anything wrong. Like, there's like different types of people, right? That like some people are like we kind of talked about like the evangelical that are like, you've got to give, and you know, you can't just help people, You have to also preach the word of God. And then
Mm-hmm.
there's the ones that, like you were talking about with Stop Hunger Now or Rise Against Hunger.
Yeah.
How, like, meeting the need, And, there's a lot of people out there within the Christian community that would disagree with that, the way that that's gone about. And there's people that would disagree with how you live your life, and whatever. And I just don't know that nobody knows. There's no algorithm, you know what I mean? Like, you can point to the Bible and go like, well, this is how you're supposed to do. This is the example. Man, there's plenty of examples of how that's not true as well. So like, at the end of the day, like, I think that if we can all just work towards being the best versions of ourselves and treating each other with love and kindness, and if you want to do that through your faith and Christianity or whatever that is, like, I think that's great. Like, I think that's cool. You do it, man. Yeah, like, if that's allowing you to be the best version of yourself, then go for it. Like, that's cool. And I know that that's, even me saying that is, from a Christian viewpoint, is like thought of it as, quote, wrong, but it's like, I don't know. I think at the end of the day, like, we're all trying to just be the best versions of ourselves, and and if we can give back and be a part of the world in whatever way that is, and be better, leave the world better than it was when we first came into it, then I think that's awesome. So
yeah, I do too. That's cool. It's very, very cool.
Dude, do you still love Legos?
Still do, man. Still do. I got thinking, like 4 years ago, I got a Lego tattoo on my arm.
Had a boy. I remember you'd wanted to do that for a long time.
Yeah, I really had. Like, I had never.
Just never presented itself.
Okay, growing up in a Christian school, it's like, tattoos are evil. You're going to hell if you have a tattoo. It's like, okay, probably not. But
yeah,
sure.
The mark of the beast, man. Mark of the beast.
Yeah, yes, dude. Yeah, God, I haven't heard that in a long time. Oh, dude, back. Not in a good way, though. Just, no, yeah, I'd wanted it for a long time, and so like, I didn't think tattoos were evil, but it still was like the first tattoo was like a big step and something I was like, I was definitely nervous about. But I was like, you know what? I've wanted this tattoo for like 2 years, 3 years. I'm like, I'm just gonna do it. Like, I just did it, and I don't regret it. It's awesome. I love it. So yeah, I still like Legos. I don't get to build as much as I used to, but I got my daughter some like the bigger Legos. We build towers and stuff like that. So it's a lot of course. Fun. Hopefully in a few years we can really get some Legos.
Nice. Yeah, like another year or two. Like, she'll be ready.
Yeah, she'll be ready. She's ready now. I mean, it's in her genes, so.
Yeah, of course. Every time, so living in Minnesota, before we moved here, we were right next to the Mall of America, so whenever my wife would drag me there, she didn't really have to drag me, but whenever we'd go there, they've got like the Lego World area, and every time I'd see them, I would think of you.
Oh, that's sweet. That's
like,
cool, man.
I think of like those big, like, I knew that was something you really loved and thought was really cool, and I always thought of you whenever I saw them.
That's awesome.
Like the big Megatron, and they had like a big dragon. And
those things are crazy, man.
Dude, it's insane.
Wait, did I ever tell you? I'm sure this came up because this is like one of the prouder moments of my life. And I'm not like a braggy person, but this is something I'll tell people. I'm like, I don't feel bad about bragging about this because it was dope. Did I ever tell you I had an interview at Lego again?
Yeah, you did tell me that.
Okay. It was in Carlsbad, which is like, a little north of the city. So like, I'd been to San Diego before when I went to Invisible Children. So we'd gone for the interview. That was a dope interview because we got a private tour.
Nice.
And built Legos for like 6 hours. It was great. I didn't get the job, but.
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't know how to ask that next. Like, how'd it go? Clearly you didn't get the job, but like, what was the interview like? I mean, we
had like a short, like probably 30-minute, like traditional interview where they asked us about work experience, stuff like that. But then it was at the Legoland theme park, and we had 3 different builds we had to do. One was like they gave us something already built. They gave us a bag of parts, and we're like, okay, build this, no instructions. So that was fun. And then we had I can't remember what the second one was. This was back in 2010. This was a long time ago.
Yeah. That's such a cool like interview like type thing, you know? Like
it was cool.
Invisible Children's interview like application was unique in and of itself. And I love it because it like the different parts bring out different like parts of who you are, right? Your character and like your values and whatever through just your answers. And I think that like, I wonder what they were looking for in that, you know, like, was it just like, couldn't have been just accuracy. Like, was there creativity involved? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Where if you like, I've got this one piece and I'm like, oh, it looks like it's supposed to be like that. Like, were you just to the T, or was there like a creative aspect? I don't know. I have a feeling there's probably a few different things they were looking for in that. Like,
I'm sure. When the last build was like a free build, so you had 2 hours to build whatever you wanted. And so that was definitely the creative part.
Okay.
See what weird stuff you can do.
What did you build?
I don't remember, but I remember not being satisfied. I remember thinking like, crap. Like, I kind of think that was the reason I didn't get the job offer. Because I looked around what other people were building. I was like, oh man, these people are like real good. Really good.
Yeah.
But they had also, it was one of those moments looking back, I was like, duh, but I didn't think about it then. These people had clearly like knew what they were going to build. And had pre-built it many, many times, so they could know, like, okay, this is how I'm going to do it. If I need to do it different, I can do it this way. And I didn't do that. And so I was like, oh man, I should have come up with something really dope. That's what I should have done.
Yeah.
So I think like everything else, the other 2 builds, I was like, I feel good about it. But that one, I was just like, I just didn't feel. I was like, this is not good. It's not my best work. So at that point, I was like, I don't think I'm going to get this job, because there was probably 15 people there. They were only hiring for 2 spots.
Sure. What was the position?
It would have been building in the parks, like the big things.
Oh, okay.
You see in the park.
Yeah.
It would have been an assistant, so I wouldn't have been like the lead on a project like that.
You'd have been making the blocks.
Yes. So like typically they make those pieces out of like smaller pieces. Like they'll like the big dinosaurs, they'll build the leg and they'll build the arm, and they'll put it all together, you know.
Yeah, it's like they build the bricks, right? Like, what do they call them?
Yeah,
like
I would have been building the toes on the leg, you know.
Yeah.
But they also have they have an area called Miniland, where they have a bunch of different cities like New York and Hong Kong and Miami and all these places, and they have like a replica of those cities. And so they've been building and maintaining those as well. And so it would have been a really cool job, but it didn't work out. And that's fine. I'm not bitter about it. Yeah. The fact that I got an interview at Lego, I'm like, I'm good.
That's cool.
Check it. Just check it off my list.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
And you just did, speaking of like building and making things, you just did your own little craft show last week.
I did, yeah.
How'd that go?
Not great. I didn't sell anything.
Oh,
that was a bummer. I lost $50.
Oh, well, could have been worse. Got your name out there, brand recognition.
True. Yeah, it's one of those things where I was talking about my parents about this, because they came up, kind of helped me kind of finish up their projects. I was talking to my wife about this too. Like, normally if I had, because I spent about a month. Like my daughter goes to like a preschool program. She's in there like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 to noon. So I have like 9 hours every week that are mine, fully mine. So the past month, I've been every single day. I'll come home, set up all my tools, and start working. Mm-hmm. And so that's something I've been doing for a month, and I've been really focused on it, and just really trying to bust all this out and do it. And so to do all that work, and to show up Saturday morning, set up, and for no one to buy anything, normally that would just wreck me.
Yeah.
You'd just be like, oh my gosh, make second guess every decision I made.
Yeah.
Like design choices versus this, this craft show versus this one, and blah, blah. But at the end of it, I just had this piece of I would not change anything. I don't regret anything.
That's awesome.
Regret, the designs I did, the colors I used, anything. I don't regret anything.
What did you make?
So right now I'm making geometric wall art.
Okay.
That's a very broad term, but that's the general idea.
Yeah.
And so they add bigger pieces, smaller pieces, and stuff like that. I'll send you some pictures of stuff I made.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
But it so there are things that were maybe a little out there, but some things I feel like there's some things I would look at it, I would be finished with it. I was like, man, that's gonna sell. Like that within 10 minutes, it's gonna be gone.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't. I sat there for 8 hours and no one sold, and I just felt this peace, man. It was just I don't know.
That's awesome.
It was just weird.
That's
good.
It
was really, it is awesome. It was really good. It made me feel confident in.
Well, it's something you enjoy doing, and making, and so why? Yeah, it's like it's like living life versus like the outcome of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of that same I see that as kind of the same concept. Like, man, you just enjoyed the process. Like you enjoyed like living life and doing your craft, and eventually, if you keep going, I'm sure eventually you'll figure things out, or things will come around and you'll make that first sale.
Yeah, I hope so, because I have a bunch of stuff laying around that I just can't I don't want it in my house. I need to have someone else's. Do
you have plans to do another show, or?
I never really wanted to do a craft show. They're exhausting, man.
Yeah.
You gotta.
My dad used to make stuff like that, and my mom would paint them, and then it was just like a side gig, for my family, and pastor salary. You get it?
Yeah, I get that.
And so, like, it was just something they enjoyed. My dad liked woodworking, and my mom would paint them and make these, like, Santa Clauses and, the classic snowmen and, whatever, these different Christmas things generally. But, so I spent a few of my days growing up in craft shows. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just tiring. It really is. And so it's not I don't see it as something that I can do consistently.
Sure.
Just because the toll it takes on me, and then we got like my parents don't live up here. My in-laws live up here, so they moved up here to help to like be around our daughter, which is great.
Yeah.
It's a lot to ask for them to watch her all day, or for my wife to watch her all day, and so it's exhausting. So I would love to sell online, or
that's what I was gonna ask.
Right now I'm working on like contacting little local shops.
Cool.
In my area,
like installments or whatever. Like
and trying to sell them that way. I think that's more sustainable. That's something I can see myself doing for a few years. Versus I don't want to do craft shows for years. I was driving there Saturday morning, and I was like, I already don't want to do this. Like, I'm happy to be going. I'm thankful to be going. I have the opportunity, and I was excited about it. But I was like, I'm already tired, and I haven't set up yet. It's just not. I don't know. It's not. I'm not cut out for it.
Cool.
But I do.
There's nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you'll figure it out. You're a smart guy. You'll figure it out. And even if it's just you get to make your own stuff and figure if it's a therapy for you in no sense, just like your own little hobby, and I don't know, those things are important. The things you like to do.
That's one thing that just doing this has been really, really important for me, because I've been doing Stay Home Dad for 3 years, and I really do love it. It is the best job I've ever had. Yeah. But it's kind of like this banging your head against the wall. It's the same thing over and over and over and over. Yeah. We're in like this like section. I know you guys don't have kids, but we're in this like, I feel like you may be able to relate a little bit, like we're in the section of potty training. Mm-hmm. It's just been it's been difficult. And so like, it's good to have something that is
not
fully confined.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I just don't want to deal with that,
Yeah.
And I do, because I have to, but I need something that I can look forward to outside of that.
If you can have 2 hours to not have to think about diapers and and potty training, like,
yes,
I think that's probably healthy.
Yeah, I think so. It's been therapeutic. It's been fun. Like it's like definitely working my creative muscle. Yeah. And ideally, I can back to being a single income family. That issue, it may help supplement some issues. Yeah, sure. And like you guys, I think overall we live a pretty comfortable life, and we're very thankful for what we have. We own a house, so I'm not complaining about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But more money will help us be more free, and we can. Yeah. We bought a car recently, so I helped pay off the car earlier. My student loan. So I think there's bringing extra money is it's never a bad thing.
No,
can help us.
It does help.
Yeah. In the future.
Yeah, money unfortunately is required for everything. So
it sucks, man. It sucks.
And grocery shopping, dude.
I know.
There's 2 of us, and I don't like. It just blows my mind every time I go to the store. Like if I. Like $75 to $100 every time.
Yep,
it's weird. It's just 2 of us. Like I'm sure it's more than that for you because you have a little one as well.
It's a little more, but it's not. She doesn't eat a ton of food, so
yeah. But
We're
gosh,
reading into it.
it blows my mind. Like, just to eat, like, oh, I want to have meat and vegetables, you know? Like,
Yeah.
it's not, our splurge is we get LaCroix water, you know? Like,
Living big, man.
I know. Like,
Love it.
Yeah.
No, we're the same way. And it's one of those things where people are like, oh, it's so much cheaper than eating out. I'm like, yeah, it is cheaper, but it's not cheap, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are two different things.
It is. Yeah, it's true. Yep.
Yeah, that's really funny. It is weird.
It always blows my mind. I'm just like, really? Like, it really costs that much?
You look at your cart like, that's all we got?
Yeah, you're like, man, I came in here thinking I could, you know, we could spend less than that today. Nope. Definitely didn't.
Well, if you're like me, I get in my car, I'm like, crap, I forgot like 6 things. So I go back and spend $20 more. I'm like,
I know.
It's worse.
I know. I already have like 3 or 4 different things. I'm like, man, I wish I would have got that. I wish I would have bought that.
Yeah.
Like, I went shopping yesterday. It's like, shit. Do you have an online store for your stuff yet?
No, I don't. No, I have an Instagram, but
Cool.
because like I've worked in shipping. I worked in shipping at IC, and I worked in shipping at that the Rising Hunger, and I worked shipping. Did shipping inventory for Apple Store. So like,
right.
I've been shipping a decent amount, and I know it's a pain in the butt, and so I haven't. The shipping thing just makes me nervous.
There's like, there's I don't know. We can talk offline, but like the store like that I have through CrazyFaceUno, they make it pretty easy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, I mean it's through GoDaddy and GoDaddy's store, but they make it pretty easy. They've got their own like little shipping, like company platform deal that's like connects to, and you just print off the labels and go for it. So like you got a printer, you're good to go. Like you don't even need like any special, you know.
I think to me the biggest thing is like the cost of shipping, because some of these pieces they're about 20-30 pounds. So
they put in, you can just put in the weight, you put in the time, you can alter that so that you pay for shipping or a set cost for shipping. You can do all those different things. So yeah, there's some, it's pretty streamlined. You know, you and I both have worked in those different areas with shipping and fulfillment, and you know, we've worked with some higher tech like systems, and but there's some pretty automated. Like the one that I use it's pretty automated, to be completely honest. So
we'll talk about it later.
For sure.
Definitely interested in that, because I've seen people sell stuff on Etsy before.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I look at like, because I kind of know how much it would cost for them to make it.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I don't know how you're making any money after shipping. Like, there's no way you're making any money. Like,
yeah, I don't know. I don't
anyway.
know how they and there might be different ways. Yeah, there might be different, you know, bits.
Yeah, I keep assuming there's a secret out there I haven't unlocked yet. But
yeah, probably.
That makes most sense.
I always feel like there's a secret out there somewhere. So
somewhere. That's funny.
What is your Instagram for your woodworking stuff?
Let me look it up, because I just started it like last week.
Nice.
I started it, I had that show on Saturday, and I started it Friday night.
Yeah.
It is firefly.woodshop.
Firefly.woodshop. Sweet. We'll make sure we put that in the podcast description and stuff, and we'll tag you and get some traction going that way.
Yeah, man. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. So
that's
if you're
not
listening,
podcast, but...
dang it! No, no, I'm all about it. Plug away, man.
Okay.
So yeah, if you're listening, go to firefly.woodshop on Instagram and check out some of Ryan's woodworking stuff that he's working on. If you're interested, shoot him a DM. Help him out.
Thanks.
Help him out. Yeah. Well, let's wrap things up, man.
Okay. Sounds good.
Got anything you want to leave us with?
I do. I thought about this when we first started, and I just didn't get a chance to tell the story. This is a really funny Shane story. I thought it's a funny story.
Uh-oh.
We were, you may or may not remember this.
Uh-oh.
We were, I see, obviously. God,
Yeah.
I thought about this a few weeks ago after you had asked me to do the podcast, and I was like, oh my God, I got to tell the story. We were at IC, and they were unloading something. Someone shipped something to us, and it was huge, so we couldn't they couldn't bring up the elevator in one piece, so we had to go down there and help them unload it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, but I can't remember what it is.
So
I don't know where this story is going.
Me, Randy, I'm sure Russell and Noah came down. I think Jeremy came down there. And we probably got Scott too. Anyway, a decent amount of people came down there to help us get it. And we brought some pallet jacks, so we knew we were going to have to move a lot of stuff. And so we kind of walk out the bottom of the parking deck. This is downtown San Diego, one-way streets, all this. And the street we were on was it was kind of an incline going down. So I looked back, and you were riding the pallet jack down the hill, and I'm like, I lost. Idiot! There's no brakes. You were going into oncoming traffic. There was no one coming, but you were going the wrong way on one street. And I was like, "You're an idiot!" There's no brakes, and then you've used a pallet jack. If it hits the smallest pedal, it just stops, just dead stop. I was like, you're gonna flip. I don't even remember how you stopped, but it was really, really, really funny.
I think I just turned it probably.
Carefully. I thought the thing would turn so tight.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was really funny.
Was that when we had all the paper material stuff? It was all the paper?
Oh, maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Anyway.
I really don't remember.
I don't remember
it was a lot. But it was really funny.
That happened a couple of times though, having those types of deliveries. So the semis would drop stuff off downtown San Diego. And we'd have to try to figure out how to get it up to the 5th floor.
Yeah.
Always exciting.
That's what I want to leave you guys with. If you've seen Shane, imagine him on a pallet jack in downtown San Diego, downhill into oncoming. And that sums up Shane in one story.
Yeah,
one image.
Pretty much.
That is your personality.
I love it, man. I love it. Dude, thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Man, this was really fun. Stay in touch.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's stay in touch for sure.
If you ever come through Atlanta, let me know. You can stay here.
Hey, you never know. I came through there on my way down, and I ended up not staying. I just kind of all right, I just made the last push down. But anyway. All right, dude. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for listening. If you have a chance, go check out firefly.woodshop on Instagram. Help Ryan out. Take a look at his woodworking and some of the things he's making. And if you've also had the time, go check out crazyfaceuno.com. There's ways for you to donate to help us build this foundation of telling people stories. And there's mugs and different ways for you to purchase and buy things on there as well. We appreciate you. Don't forget, do good, make a difference, find ways to give back. We appreciate you all. Love ya.